Hi, I'm Phil Constantine. On this episode of Travels with Phil, we are going to visit Devil's Tower National Monument. This iconic geological feature is located in the northeastern corner of Wyoming, not far from South Dakota and Montana. We will be looking at videos and photos of the tower, its geology, wildlife, vegetation, and history. It is a famous feature of the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind and is also sacred to many American Indian tribes in the area. Have you ever been to Devil's Tower? What was your favorite part? Leave a message down in the comments section below. So let's talk about the name. Should it be Devil's Tower or Bear Lodge? The issue of the tower's name is a source of controversy for many people. Almost all of the American Indian names for the tower are associated with a bear. In the Lakota language, which I don't speak, bad god or evil spirit is Wakansika, whereas the word for black bear is Wahanksika. This fact suggests that Army explorers under Colonel Richard Dodge may have mistranslated the Lakota name. Recently, tribal organizations have lobbied for a change back to the name Bear Lodge for both the tower and the area. How was the tower formed? There are several different scientific theories. You can see one here called the stock theory, where just magma came up deep underneath the ground about 50 million years ago, and eventually the sedimentary rock on top of it, this may have been underwater or under an inland sea, eventually wore away. Another one sort of similar, and the first four ones are very similar, is that something called a laccolith developed as magma came up, again underneath a long or a deep layer, maybe a couple of miles of sedimentary rock, and it sort of shaped like a mushroom. That eventually the sedimentary rock went away and the mushroom type area wore down as well. The third common discussion or scientific theory is there was a volcanic neck that came up almost to the surface, may have actually come to the surface, that eventually wore down to the area which left what is there now. And the fourth method is one that said it filled in a deep area where there was a crater, the magma came up, and the crater was eventually worn down. And then the fifth one is that there was a steam eruption deep underneath the ground where the hot magma came into a large area of water, and this happens actually quite a bit, and it caused a steam eruption to come up through the ground layers, and then eventually this open area from the steam eruption filled in with lava and left the area that you see now. And then there's the American Indian lore, which usually involves 7 girls or children who are being threatened by a large creature. They ask the Great Spirit to save them. They're on top of a large rock which grows skyward. The creature tries to climb the rock and leaves claw marks on the sides, and that's why the Devil's Tower looks the way it does now. You pick the one that you prefer. The 6-sided columns are called columnar joining. It comes from a rare igneous rock called phonolite. Its shape comes from the special way the lava cools. They can be seen in many different parts of the world, such as Yellowstone, Devil's Tower obviously, Devil's Postpile, Columbia River Gorge, and the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. Let's look at climbing at the tower. People have been climbing to the top of the tower since 1893. Willard Ripley and William Rogers were the first people documented to reach the summit. They installed a wooden ladder which helped subsequent climbers. Many people have reached the top since then. In 1938, Jack Durrance pioneered the Durrance Route, which is one of the most popular ways to reach the summit. One commercial guide has summited over 2,500 times. Let's go look at the scene with my live commentary.
Travels with Phil back at Devil's Tower. So to the easterly side, and see this tree right here? Follow the crack up, and you'll see some just above the last tree there. See somebody in blue. Then above them, slightly tilted column. I think that's the dissolution. They had something about that. And then follow the column up, and you see somebody in red up above that, and even further up, not too far below the top, somebody with a white shirt, dark pants on, who's 100 feet or so, maybe less, from the summit. Lots of climbing involved there.
Climbing on the tower is a source of controversy for many local American Indian tribes. They find climbing here inappropriate. The National Park Service has initiated a voluntary no climbing period during the ceremonies they hold here in June. Arvo Looking Horse, who's the center of this picture, is a spiritual leader for the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. He has said, "Climbers make lots of noise and come near our people when they are praying. By doing this, they disturb our efforts to obtain spiritual guidance. When climbers hammer objects into the butte, it is like they are pounding stakes into our bodies." That's his wife on the left, him in the center, and me on the right. What does the tower look like on the top?
And it's relatively flat. It's rocky and dry, a lot more mesic than the rest of the tower. It's mostly grasses and sagebrush up there. Something really cool about the top of the tower is that there's Wyoming big sagebrush that grows up on the summit, and that's pretty cool because you don't really find Wyoming big sagebrush anywhere else in the rest of the monument.
This is a virtual look at the top. At the summit, Devil's Tower is approximately 1.5 acres. It's about 180 feet by 300 feet, or about the size of a football field. And that is a drastic difference from the base, which measures in at approximately 1 mile all the way around. You can see the structure up here. It's a little bit of a dome up there on top. And I like that some of the climbers have a sense of humor, no climbing above this point. In 1941, George Hopkins parachuted onto the summit. Unfortunately, his rope and other equipment bounced off. Several attempts were made to drop him another rope, but none were successful. He was eventually rescued by climber Jack Durrance, who found a route to get up there. 6 days later, he became big news in the United States for a few days until the start of World War II. As you might imagine, there's a lot of wildlife at the Devil's Tower area. Let's look at the prairie dog. It's one of the most visible and appreciated animals seen at the Devil's Tower National Monument. They live in small grass prairie, and early European explorers likened them to small dogs because of their shrill bark-like vocalizations. Their calls are meant as part of a complex communication system that they use for security. You can even see a picture of them. It looks like they're kissing, but actually touching teeth. They are highly social animals that live in large groups known as towns. The town at Devil's Tower is quite small, measuring at about 42 acres in 2016. A lot of people heard about Devil's Tower from Close Encounters.
Devil's Tower, Wyoming was the first national monument.
Travels with Phil, May 25. Dee, 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 dee. Well, I'm not going to do the whole tune because I might get a copyright violation there. Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Very nice pastoral setting out here.
As it looks up ahead, there's thousands of places to hide.
But it sure is pretty. This is the Joyner Trail.
Have you recently had a close encounter?
The Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Travels with Phil. Back to you.
We're the only ones who know. The only ones.
That's what I call a close encounter.
So it doesn't matter if you heard about it from Close Encounters, which I saw it before that, but wanted to go there because I'd seen the movie as well, or however you saw it. It's a beautiful spot, and I highly, highly recommend it. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please feel free to make comments below as long as the language is family friendly. And if you like this video, please click on the thumbs up button below. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the circle with my picture in it in the lower right hand corner of the video. The arrow is pointing at it now. And once you have subscribed, you can be notified of when I have a new video posted by clicking on the bell icon in the description field below the video. Thanks again for watching.